Bonds hits one high. Hits it deep. It is out of here. 7:56. Bonds stands alone.
Now Booker with Tucker on him. Throws it up for 8. Shot blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a block from Giannis.
17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead.
Minute remaining.
And they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Irving. Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up.
It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown.
We're sending it in, Jerome. That's for damn sure.
Yes. What is up, everybody? Happy Sunday or Monday if you're listening to the podcast a day later. We appreciate y'all for hanging out. Big show on deck tonight. Of course, I'm your host, Jordan Stacks on Stacks Lats, joined as always with my guys, my partners, Mr. Swervin' Urban Washington and Mr. Big Ball and Ben Larson. How we doing, fellas? How was your weekend?
Doing good weekend.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Lakers packed up them them Grizzlies by 40, so ain't no parade in my city.
Yep. Ben?
I mean, I gotta say the same thing. I gotta watch a home run fest in Mexico City, and then my Dubs did their work today, so I can't complain about that.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that Mexico City game because, we were texting all weekend when the total opened yesterday at 21 or today.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible. Yeah, man, a lot of good sports this weekend. I was on the Kings today, unfortunately. Shout out to Kevon Looney, man. He absolutely – I know Steph scored 50 points, but Kevon Looney was the MVP of that game. 13 rebounds in the third quarter, most rebounds for anybody in a playoff game.
Yeah, I mean, him
in a quarter.
The whole series, I'm sure. He had the most we need to look that up. I'm sure it's the most rebounds in a 7-game series.
Doubtful, because a guy named Dennis Rodman played in the NBA. So did Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell.
Was Rodman playing with averaging 20 to 25?
Yes.
Per game? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dude, Rodman averaged like 17 rebounds for his career.
Yeah.
Rodman's incredible. But, I mean, that's what Kevon Looney reminded me of today. I mean, like, dude just couldn't Sabonis is a fucking cone, man. They got to get rid of that motherfucker. We'll get to that later. We're going to open up. Before we do that, we are being brought to you by Tavour. Make sure to go to Tavour.com or download the Tavour app straight to your mobile device and use promo code TAPROOM for $10 off your first purchase of $25 or more. That's craft beer delivered straight to your front door. You don't even need to leave your seat. What a noble concept. With that being said, Ben, what are you sipping on tonight?
Yeah, I had to get my Sierra Nevada glass out because I have got 2 Sierra Nevadas tonight. The first is going to be the Summerfest, which is a 5%er. One of my favorite beers because it is so low of an alcohol percentage and has great taste to it, great nose to it as well. I haven't tried this year's yet, so I'm super stoked about it. I saved it for the show, but I mean, Sierra Nevada 5%, you can't go wrong.
Hell yeah! I'm just sipping on a Jaya Light IPA tonight. I got to be up at 5 a.m, so I'm not trying to get too crazy. And I didn't go to the store today because last night I was feeling myself after the Nuggets won.
There we go.
I had a big wager on the Nuggets last night, and so I was up till like 3 a.m, enjoying myself and looking at baseball games today, and it panned out because I went 3-0 in MLB bets today.
There we go.
So that was always good, and depending on this Kraken game, it might be a very, 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 very good day. If the Kraken can pull this out, we'll keep you all updated on that as well. Kraken lead 2.
Life though.
Who?
The
Avalanche
score is 2-1.
Well, I mean, the Avalanche dominated the first period and didn't have a single goal. And the fact that the Kraken were up 2-1, I thought was really impressive because I mean the Kraken only had like 2 shots in the second period, and they both went in the net.
The goalie.
So we'll see what happens with that. They're starting the third period right now. Kraken do lead 2-1, Game 7 in Colorado. With that being said, let's start with the Stanley Cup playoffs. Obviously, the Boston Bruins, number 1 team in the league, President's Trophy, best regular season in the history of the NHL, up 3-1 in the series against the Florida Panthers and lose in Game 7 and lose the series 4-3. What, Ben, is our hockey guy, Irv too, but we'll start with you, Ben. What is your thoughts on that series and kind of how it played out and kind of before we get to the next step of Boston, but what's your thoughts on how that series played out?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love it. It's something that we see a lot when there's a team that is, President's Trophy and does set those records, is they just, shoot their whole load in the regular season, and by the time the playoffs come, they have such high expectations and they just disappoint. It's kind of sad to see because they were up 3-1, and they really do have some players on that team that are really impressive, but they also have some absolute douchebags on that team, and that's what makes me really happy to see Marchand lose, to see Olmark lose. The cockiness just got too much from him, and the grittiness of the Panthers really kind of came into effect. That's what pushed it to the later in the series, and you look at Florida and you have multiple lines being successful. I mean, your top goal scorer is Matthew Tkachuk with 5 goals and 5 assists.
It was great in that series.
That's nothing compared to what you see on Boston there, where their top goals. I guess Taylor Hall only had 5 goals too, but they just had multiple lines working together, and that's what you need in the playoffs. Yep. Is the third line guys stepping up and putting the puck in the back of the net, the biscuit in the basket.
Yep. Irv, what's your thoughts on Boston?
Yeah, it's gonna look bad because it was up 3-1, and I think they had a lead in the next game and lost it, and then
they had a lead in the last 2 games.
Yeah, and they gave them life, and the Panthers seized the momentum. It really sucks for Patrice Bergeron because he's a class act. I like the guy, but Boston sports, it's a big middle finger to them all the time. But they were the favorites, man, and I thought they was gonna win this series easily. Like, especially when it was up 3-1, I was like, well, pack Florida ass up, because like I said, they could score with the best of them, but their defense is shaky, and then they just figured it out, and the goalie just went on a run, and Olmark was just awful. I mean, horrible. That Game 6 loss is on him. He allowed 3 goals that shit I wouldn't allow if I was a goalie. Just put my pads on and let me run out there. But yeah, it might be a big transition for Boston headed into the offseason, because Bergeron very well might retire. They got some contracts coming up. Some guys might leave because they might not afford to pay them. Guys have big years, so you know how that goes. But this was the 1 year that they could have won it for their captain, the guy that's been holding them down for all these years, and they just couldn't get it done. And I know the crowd was cheering them at the end, but I know a lot of people left that stadium with some, I love them Boston tears. Ain't nothing like some Boston tears in sports. So,
bro, they were booing them in the second period, man. That was
I know, but beating the Yankees after being down 3-0, just think about that. You'll be all right.
Oh, the Colorado just tied it up 2-2.
Yeah,
doesn't surprise me there.
You gotta love this team, man. They never say die, and they got 3 lines that could work you to death.
2 guys on Seattle both lost their sticks.
Yeah, see,
shocker.
You can't have that type of shit in Game 7.
Yeah, man, the Boston series. I mean, after Game 5, when they lost in overtime, the way that they did, when Olmark went to go make that play and just coughed it up to Tkachuk and he made that easy goal to win the game, I kind of felt like, all right, now Boston has all this pressure on them. And when you're a 1 seed and you play with all that pressure, it can catch up to you, dude. Because like Florida was playing with house money, you know what I mean? Like they had nothing to lose. Like nobody expected them to be in that series. Everyone expected Boston to sweep them, right? Once they let Florida believe in themselves and gave Florida a chance, dude, I think Florida just seized the opportunity and they said, "Hey, like we can play with these guys, man. Like we can win these games." And Olmark, you know, in the playoffs, we talked about this before the playoffs started, dude. You're only as good as your goaltender in the Stanley Cup playoffs, man. And Olmark absolutely folded. And it's tough for me to like. It's hard to go to a new goalie in Game 7, dude. Like, what kind of confidence does that give your team? Like, all right, we don't believe in our goaltender that basically brought us here all year in Game 7. So, with that being said, that's why I really liked Florida to win this game, man. I felt like Boston had way too tight. They were going to be way too tight, and they were.
Offsides, no goal.
Oh, really? Let's go, baby. Thank you for that.
Yeah, if the
update.
Kraken don't get something going in the next couple minutes, they might get their ass skated off the ice because Colorado looks like they about to seize the moment, honestly. But yeah, I think yeah, I wouldn't have switched goalies. He's been your guy all year. Shit, he led you to the greatest record and the most points in NHL history. So, like you said,
He was so bad,
Yeah,
though,
but
bro.
goaltenders get in their heads, though. It doesn't surprise me that they did change him up.
I just don't think you could do it at Game 7, Ben. Like, you can't do it the very last game, dude. Like, that sends a
I
bad
agree,
message
yeah.
to your team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah, but who knows what he was like in the locker room before the game, what was going on, because you know that's one of the things, like in hockey, you don't talk to your goaltender. Your goaltender needs to be in that focus, and you see that going right up to, you know, the puck drop. And if your goaltender is not in that focus, they will pull themselves. So who knows if that was a coach's decision, if that was Olmark's decision. I'm guessing it was coaches, but you know, they needed to change something up, because you know that 7-5 beating in Game 6 that's rough. That's very rough. That overtime in Game 5, like that was obviously the turning point when Florida got that overtime goal. But
Yep.
man, it's what a beautiful goal by Verhaeghe in overtime too. But,
yeah, that wrister was nasty.
yeah.
Florida's good. Before we went on, Ben and I were talking, and I was telling Ben, I was like, man, I honestly wouldn't be shocked if Florida made a Stanley Cup run with the confidence they have now, and Bobrovsky looked good.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it kind of remind me of the Nationals when they won the World Series.
Yeah, you get hot at the right time, and like Florida, like they've been able to score all year. Their issue's been goaltending, and now Bobrovsky looks decent. You know what I mean?
Goaltending and defense, and their defense is starting to get a little healthier too. It's good to see Ekblad come back for the series in a couple of the games here.
But the Maple Leafs getting that big monkey off their back, though. You think the Panthers got enough to beat them?
I mean, but
the Panthers shouldn't have beat Florida. So, shouldn't have beat Boston. So
and
yeah,
and now,
absolutely they can beat.
And honestly,
Toronto.
I think it's worse for Toronto to face Florida than it is Boston, because against Boston, nobody would have given them a chance, right? Now all the pressure is on Toronto. You know what I mean? And we've already seen how Toronto folds under pressure before. And now they're under immense pressure, because now it's like, okay, now you have an 8th seed. You should easily beat this team and be in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I do think Florida has a legit chance. I can't wait to see the series price when it comes out, because I think I might play Florida, dude.
And Tampa Bay did have some good games there, but they did not impress me. Like I mean, I was riding Tampa Bay high for the whole series. I think, you know, I still think they should have won, but yeah, they really didn't. So, you know, if you have a team that can put up the goals like Florida can, and Florida did against one of the best, you know, team defenses and goaltenders of the year.
Yep.
If I'm Toronto, I'm worried. I'm definitely worried here.
Yeah, not taking them lightly. The interesting thing about the Toronto Lightning series, Ben, to your point, is you know, in game, I think it was, what was the game? Game 4 when Toronto won in overtime in Tampa, and game 6 when Toronto won in Tampa. both games, I felt like Tampa was a better team. And Tampa absolutely dominated the overtimes in both those games. And Toronto won them.
Yeah, they just couldn't put the puck in.
Yeah, so
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
And that, what really surprised me there was like they beat one of the best goaltenders. That will go in as one of the best goaltenders in history in Vasilevsky.
Yeah, Samsonov was really good in that series though.
Yeah,
we do have to give him some kudos. He was pretty phenomenal. All right, so we basically have the next round set. We're just waiting on the Kraken and Avalanche. We can't find any series prices for some reason. Maybe Circa has some up. Let me check real quick.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of places are going to do it all at once and give you those series. And really, Florida just won today. The only series we'd probably see is that Edmonton, Las Vegas.
Okay, so Edmonton, Vegas, and Panthers, Leafs. We have series prices on.
Oh, we do already for the Florida.
Yeah, so Panthers, Leafs, Panthers plus 150, Leafs minus 170. This is at Circa. And Oilers, Knights, Oilers minus 152, Knights plus 132. They have home ice and they're the dog.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Any thoughts or conviction on either of those two?
I think that's the McDavid effect, and that you have the best.
Well, Ben, they're really good.
Line.
At some point, you got to give these guys credit, dude. They're a good team.
Absolutely. No, I'm not saying that they're. Was just gonna say the best first line in hockey when McDavid and Draisaitl there, but that's. They have to produce. They have to.
Bro, it's like Irv said though, Ben. Like, bro, keeping up scoring with the Oilers, there's very few teams that can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't even matter how good defensively you are because you still have to put, like, Edmonton's going to score. You have to be able to score with them.
Yeah.
Can the Vegas Knights do that? That's the biggest question.
They might not be able to because the way they looked in that first round, goals was hard to come by, except for one game.
Winnipeg
arguably has gritty, man.
Yeah, Winnipeg arguably has the best goaltender in the West too.
Yeah, I get it, but man, the Oilers, man, I don't know. I got a hard time picking against them. That offense, and if Campbell keeps playing like he's playing, of course he's going to allow some
big
goals.
Question mark there. That's
if
mark.
If he can hold teams to 2 to 3, maybe 2, 3 goals, shit, your offense is going to get you at least 4. On a bad night, on a good night, they can get you 6 or 7. So,
I definitely think Vegas is a better team than the Kings, though.
Yeah,
like this is definitely a step up for the Oilers, but I honestly have a hard time just seeing, like, the only team I think could compete with Edmonton in the West is Colorado, and they might get ousted tonight.
mm-hmm.
Y'all are forgetting about my Dallas Stars.
They can't score though, Ben.
Yeah, but their defense is.
But you still got to be able to score against Edmonton, though.
Yeah, I don't think Dallas
scored against fucking Minnesota.
Man, Minnesota was hella hurt.
Exactly.
Just you wait.
He got that blind love for them Stars, bro.
Ben he also like does not want to see Edmonton win at all.
I don't.
He
really the only team in the West right now that I can see beating Edmonton is Dallas.
You could be right. I think. I'm not saying the Vegas series is gonna be a walk.
Don't Dallas have to? Who Dallas got to play?
They play the winner of the Kraken of
Seattle or Chicago.
Yeah, they're not beating that team.
Dallas?
Dallas is not beating Seattle?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, give me a break.
I love it, Herb. I love it.
No
very spicy.
If Seattle beats Denver, I'm taking Seattle.
No,
I love it.
Because
Colorado's been hurt. Colorado's been suspended. I mean, just look at.
I get it, but
Pagliano has a broken neck.
Man, outside of their defense, goals is hard to come by. For them, it's like pulling teeth.
I'm with Irv on this one. I like.
And they're not getting Pavelski back the next round. Nah,
what happened?
Pavelski will be back next round. Yeah,
I haven't seen anything about him coming back.
How old is he now? Ben, like 40.
Dallas scored 7 goals in their first win.
Okay, then when they scored, and then they scored 7 combined the next 3 games.
No,
No, they scored
Game
5
s-
in one of them.
Game 6 was 4. Game 5 was 4. Game 4 was 3. And then look what they allowed. Minnesota in their win, 3 goals. Game
Yeah,
2, and they won
Minnesota was
7-3.
That series shouldn't even win 6 games, honestly.
Yeah, my dumbass kept
Y'all
playing
are
the
crazy.
Wild.
That Minnesota's
Give me the Kraken. Whoever
No.
wins this game is beating Dallas.
No.
I mean, for my 44-1 future on the Kraken, I love what you're saying there. Like, I would love to see the Kraken hoist the cup, man.
It's not happening.
Let's go.
No
baby. Let's go.
ways.
Let's go Kraken. Let's go Kraken. Let's do this. All right. Let's move on to some Major League Baseball. So first topic I want to hit on is let's start with the Mexico City game. So for those that aren't aware, there was some sports books that weren't aware either, that the Padres and Giants game was being played in Mexico City because one sports book, I don't want to mention them, DraftKings, opened the total on Friday for Saturday's game 8.5.
Wow.
And they got fucking hammered. They closed it, reopened it at 14 with every other sports book. Total
Still got hammered. Yeah.
Total closed at 16. There was 27 runs scored in that first game. And then the total for Sunday opens at 21 and then gets bet down. Yeah. Well, there was a lot of
11.
Yeah, it was
6-5 or was it
6-4, 10
6-4?
runs.
Okay, yeah, 10. Yeah.
But there was
lead. Who would have thought?
There was some interesting news that came about. So obviously the Giants, because they lost, were complaining that the balls weren't properly like in a humidor or whatever. And it did come out to fruition that not only were the balls not in a humidor for 24 hours, but they weren't even set at sea level, which is what it's supposed to be set at. So that's why we saw like fly balls. I think there was 18 fly balls in the game and 11 of them went out for home runs, dude, which is pretty incredible.
They need to have a series at that stadium every weekend.
Yeah, that would be fun. But Sunday, it came out. Susan Slusser, the Giants beat writer for the San Francisco Chronicle, she said that the balls on Sunday were in the humidor for 2 days and they were set at 100 feet below sea level. So they
deadened them.
The hell it deadened them, and that's why we saw a lot of less runs.
Leave it at sea level.
So that was interesting to see. But what was your guys' takeaway on the game? Because like the ballpark, not only was it 7,000 feet above sea level, the ballpark was small.
Yeah, it's not that big. But yeah, I love the long ball. So, and when you got Brandon Crawford hitting 455, that's the type of park I want to see baseball played at.
What was your thoughts, Ben, as a Giants fan?
I mean, I think because of that, you have to have every team play in Mexico City. I mean, not only is it a big spectacle, but like the Giants and the Padres numbers are going to be so inflated just from this one game.
Yep.
And I don't think that's necessarily equitable for the other teams, who don't get those Mexico City games. It's only 2 games. It's nothing crazy, but it's and to have the balls non-humidor, non-set for at sea level, like 28 runs in a game. That's what we want to see. And I think that game still was under 3 hours, but like that's fun baseball. I'll watch. Like Irv said, everybody needs to play every weekend. Somebody needs to play in Mexico City. I will watch that series every weekend.
Yeah. I tweeted out yesterday, I was like, man, they should play every game in Mexico City. Like, this is awesome. One thing is, though, is like, Coors Field's 4,000 feet above sea level, but they built that park with bigger dimensions. So, like, it's 410 out to center field. They have the biggest outfield in all of baseball. Like, that park's built for it. But this Mexico City park's, like, super short. It's only, like, 325 out to center field. So, like, the ball just fucking flies. And someone in our group chat, Irv, said, like, this is where Manny and Soto are going to, like, get their confidence up or their swing back or whatever. And I was like, that doesn't even make sense because most of these would be fucking outs at Petco Park, dude. Like, it's probably worse for them because now you're swinging because you know it's going to go out, so you're swinging for home runs, and you know when you should just be swinging for base hits and stuff.
Yeah.
Padres still have a lot to figure out, man. Like, they're still not a very good team. Tatis is getting going, though. 8-game hit streak, which is the second longest in baseball.
Yep.
So that's good to see. But yeah, the Mexico City game was fun, man. That was a fun series, and I definitely agree with you guys that they should do that more often. Just like they should do the Field of Dreams game more often.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think they need to have these spectacles to bring in more fans. Like,
Great point.
you know, you had, I think that San Diego was perfect for the Mexico City game too, because you heard all
Right
the,
by the border.
Reporters and announcers saying like, this is Mexico's team because they're so close to, the border there.
Yep.
Get international presence going. Look at teams that are right on the Canadian border and go in and play a game in Canada. I know they don't have huge stadiums there.
Canada has a team,
outside of the, what's that?
Canada has a team.
Well, yeah, I know Canada has a team, but look at the west coast of Canada.
Vancouver.
Yeah, nothing in Vancouver, nothing in you only have Toronto up there, so
bring back the Expos.
Bring back the Expos. Get a game in Montreal. Have the East Coast teams playing Montreal, the upper East Coast teams. Like, they'd hate having the Yankees there, but that would draw.
Yeah,
that would draw people in there just to root against the Yankees.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
I say boost those areas. Have a fucking Cuba game. Like, get Miami to play in Cuba for a weekend.
Diplomatically, I'm not sure that's a
okay, maybe not Cuba. Maybe you go into like the Dominican Republic or
Cancun.
You find some other places. Even London, get a couple games out there. They have big enough stadiums that you can alter to make into baseball fields. But
the only thing with like
international fans,
I thought about London and Europe, but I think the only teams you could like play out there that people would care about is the Yankees and Red Sox.
Yeah,
and we see enough of that already.
I mean, you could play LA, the Angels out there.
I feel like those teams you got to play like Japan.
Yeah, but again, you have those big names. You could play it out there. You could probably play San Diego out there. You could play Yankees, Red Sox. Who else right now with the big enough names that you could get out there? To be honest, that's probably it. But
that's the thing is, like, I've been saying this for years, man. Like, Major League Baseball does a fucking terrible job of putting their product on national TV because they always put the same fucking teams, dude. It's always Yankees, Red Sox, Mets, Phillies, fucking Dodgers versus Braves. Like, they always put, like, the same fucking teams on there, dude. It's like, you got to get these other teams in there because there's great players, dude. Like, Miami has a great Jazz Chisholm, dude. He's very electric. Like, you know, what I'm
just
saying?
had World Baseball Classic. You utilize those players that are on the national teams.
Yep.
And get that national. Like, I know LA has, or the Angels have,
Tani,
Shohei, but get a Lars Nootbaar who's playing for Japan. Like, push him out to the Japanese players as well. Get some of those, I guess you can't really have a team in Israel play in Israel, but like, get some of those, those opportunities and run with it.
I agree. I definitely agree. All right, let's move on to two teams that are absolutely struggling, dude. So the Yankees are 3-7 in their last 10. Aaron Judge didn't play the last 2 days. The Yankees are going to determine by tomorrow if he's going to go on the injured reserve list. What is our thoughts on the Yankees? Because I feel like we all kind of agreed when we did the preseason show that we felt like the Yankees were going to take a step back because they overachieved a little last year. I feel like we're kind of seeing that this year. They're one of the worst offenses in baseball. I think they're like 21st or 22nd in WRC plus. Like, they haven't been able to hit for about 2 weeks. Just not as good as they were last year. Nestor Cortez, who was great last year, got fucking shelled today. against Texas. So we're seeing some regression from a lot of those guys. What's your guys' thoughts on the Yankees here? Because they're still one of the top teams to win the World Series at 10-1, which is absolutely fucking shocking to me. It doesn't make any
That's
fucking
just
sense.
Vegas.
That's Vegas because
that's the name.
The name.
They're fourth or fifth in World Series odds at 10-1. What's your guys' thoughts on the Yankees and kind of not only your thoughts, but where do you see their season kind of going from here?
They better improve in a hurry because you got two damn good teams. Well, three actually pretty damn good teams in there to own the division. So you see the Orioles, we said they were going to be ascending. They had too much young talent. They just got to send Ding Kramer ass back to the minors so he can get his so he can get his what's the names to get his mechanics together and his delivery because that's not working. I won't say flex his ass to DFA like Chris Flexen. He's not that bad, but they got to send him down. They got to get him some work. The Blue Jays looking damn good. They was down 4-0 today and came back within a half an inning. So and that's always good. But Chris Bassett would concern me the way he's giving up. You giving up 4 runs in 1 inning to the Mariners. That's a red flag for me. Yeah. But yeah, if the Yankees don't get it together fast, man, they could fall out of this division race.
Ben, what's your thoughts on the Yankees?
I mean, I think the big thing too is that they are hurt. They are majorly hurt right now. You know, you got Stanton. I mean, Stanton's always hurt, but you got Stanton with a hamstring strain. You've got Harrison Bader with a left oblique strain. You've got Josh Donaldson with a hamstring strain. You've got Aaron Judge now coming out with what was his back issues? Hip, yeah. So I mean that's
not good.
Yeah, and that's a tough thing to have early in the season because you know that those, especially with those hamstring strains, like those are going to nag for a long time. And with so many games back to back, like those aren't going to go away. I think the month of May is going to be very difficult for New York. You've got 7 games against Tampa Bay. You do have a couple. Yeah, okay, so 7 games against Tampa Bay. You've got Toronto for 4. You have Seattle 3, San Diego 3, Baltimore 3. You have the Dodgers at the start of June. You do have a couple series that are a little bit easier, but at this point, with the way that New York's playing, I don't know if they win a Cleveland series, even though.
Do we have an update on Carlos Rodon and his injury?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. You've got Cleveland, you've got Oakland, and you have Cincinnati. Other than that, this is a hard series or hard month of May there.
Damn, the last update on Rodon was April 12th. That's not good.
I see. I mean, it's nj.com, but rehabbing back from spring training injuries is Carlos Rodon and Luis Severino.
Because, dude, they cannot continue to trot out Brito and Clark Schmidt, dude. Those guys fucking stink. And now that, like, Nestor Cortez has kind of regressed back to earth, that's a little bit of a worry, too. And, like, Domingo Germán hasn't been great because their bullpen is still top 3. Like, they have one of the best bullpens in baseball.
Okay, so Rodon returned in June. He threw 22 bullpen pitches on Friday.
All right, so June. And how, this was part of our concern when we talked about the Yankees coming forward is, like, can we rely on Carlos Rodon to pitch an entire year? And even if he comes back in June, can we rely on him to pitch the rest of the year thereafter?
Yep. Yeah, and because of his injury, being a forearm muscle strain, like,
dude, those usually lead to TJ.
Yeah.
He's already had one Tommy John surgery too.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting how that plays out. I can't believe their numbers 10-1 to win the World Series, dude. Like, that is insane.
Oh, well, that's all just Vegas making money.
At this point, I don't even think they'll make the playoffs and I'm not saying that because, you know, I don't like the Yankees, but dude, their lineup isn't good. They're not good offensively. And if Judge is hurt for a period of time, I mean, that dramatically sets their chances back, dude.
Yeah, Trevino, no return date. Their pitching is just, I mean, Severino, late May, early June.
Bro, they let Chapman walk, and Chapman's actually pitching well for Kansas City, dude. He actually been a bright spot there.
Yeah, La Sega, all these guys.
It's gonna be interesting for the Yankees. All right, let's move on to the White Sox real quick. So I want to play this clip. It's a little long. I may cut it down a little bit.
It's okay. I can go get another beer.
But this is absolute gold, dude. This is a White Sox fan who called into ESPN Chicago, and he rants about the Chicago White Sox. So I want to play a little bit of this, just absolute gold. So here we go.
And it's very well said too. Like he thought about this, and he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, this is well thought out. All right, so I'm gonna play it real quick, and then we'll react to it in the White Sox
and vent about this organization. Be our guest right now, and then we will talk some Bears football. Berto is on the west side. You're on ESPN 1000. What's up, Berto?
What's going on, guys? Listen, first of all, huge fan, long-time caller. I know regardless of your individual allegiances, I love that you both look at these things objectively and you provide a service to the fans of Chicago. We owe you a debt of gratitude. I've been a diehard Chicago White Sox fan for nearly 40 years. I
Shout
say
out
that
our guy Michael
with
Gibson,
the
too.
very express intent of sharing my deep and undying love for this team. And my call is rooted in heartbreak, not anger. Don't get me wrong. I'm angry, but it is a byproduct of a dysfunctional, abusive relationship with the front office and the ownership of the Chicago White Sox. I also want to say I have defended this rebuild. I liked what the team did with the trades. I defended Yasmani in Dallas. I didn't understand the La Russa hire, but I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I forgave the free agents they let go. I was befuddled by the Benintendi and Clevenger signings, but you know what? I said, I'm going to give them one last shot. And when they canceled Sox Fest, like the cowards they are, I knew something was up. But now we know. Obviously, the experiment is over. The vast majority of the prospects have been busts. The product on the field is pathetic. We have exactly two players of excellence on this roster, Dylan Cease and Tim Anderson. Everyone else is nowhere near the kind of player they need to be to make this a winning team. You'd think that would be enough to wake this organization up. But yesterday, Kenny Williams had the gall to say that he's not in a good place right now, and accountability is not an issue. You're right, he's not in a good place. He's not in a job he should have. Think about all the promises that Rick Hahn made, mired in mediocrity. That he bragged about Romy Gonzalez in spring training, and I'll trade him if I get the right price. Think about the things Grifol said, come to the park, we're going to kick everyone's butt. They must have been talking about the fans, not the other teams. The entire lineup is batting under 220. The best hitter on the team is Jake Berger. We're a AAA team. Our right fielders are hitting 180 with a weighted run created plus of 28. I don't even need to tell you about the pitching staff. Katz has got to go. Moncada, TA, Eloy, Yaz, Joe Kelly. It's week 4. They've all already been hurt. Tens of millions of dollars on replacement level players while stars go elsewhere. We're 11 games under 500. The Bears needed 6 months to get 11 games under 500. We needed 3 weeks. In the 15 years of Rick Hahn, we have been a constant experiment that has never panned out. In the 25 years of Kenny Williams, we had exactly 1 season of excellence with a perfect storm of players that has not once come even close to being the same. I don't want to hear about the strength of schedule in April. With the money we've spent, the players we have playing 500 ball, should be underachieving, not 11 games under 500. We keep going after players that Rick Hahn liked 5 years ago. Lance Lynn, over the hill. Yaz, over the hill. Benintendi, he wanted him in the draft 6 years ago. He's got a .1 WAR. Clevenger isn't just a clubhouse cancer and a disgusting human being. He's a horrendous pitcher. Joe Kelly has been useless. We signed Vince Velasquez. Give me a break. John Jay, Yonder Alonso. Between them, that's $200 million on a bunch of black holes and an ERA of 240. The entire organization is poisoned. The entire way that they go about their business is a failure. Firing Rick isn't enough. Firing Kenny isn't enough. If Chris Getz gets promoted and we have to sit through another 15-year retool rebuild, you're just going to hear from me again in 2038. I don't care if we go on a torrid winning streak in May and June and somehow get back to 500 ball, and then we scooch our way into the postseason and the wild card, only to get bounced right away by a team that's actually good. We have no depth in our organization. One injury and we are done. This process isn't working. Our farm system has been in the bottom 10 for 45 years, aside from the one frame of time when they traded all our talent away and graduated them all right up, and then we were the worst again. There is one solution. In his final years, Jerry Reinsdorf, who, by the way, wouldn't even have the reputation he has if he hadn't have lucked upon Michael Jordan at 3 in 1984, has the courage to get rid of the yes men around him and fire everyone. He bought into the Chicago Bulls and the White Sox for $20 million. He's worth $2 billion now. He needs to use a fraction of that money he made on the backs of Chicago's blue-collar baseball fans and pay for a front office to come and rebuild everything. Rick Hahn and Kenny Williams cannot be trusted to rebuild this team again. They need to retire and go off into the sunset and play golf with the millions of dollars they made on their cushy paychecks for a job that they had a longer leash for than any executive in the history of the modern era of baseball. Let someone qualified come in and run this team. At this point, we would need a historic turnaround to even be mildly relevant. Everyone said the AL Central was weak, and it might be in comparison to others, but the Sox aren't better than the Guardians or the Twins. We're not even better than the Royals. And the fact that we're only incrementally better than the Tigers is exactly the kind of indictment on this organization that we need. The lack of success that this roster has is a referendum on what we've already seen in 2006, 2007, 2011, 2013, 2015, and 16, and the excruciating last 7 years that only led to this. I mean, Stoney is more worried about Lance Lynn eating a salad than the entire organization not knowing how to teach Major League prospects how to hit a baseball.
All right, Berto.
Berto, you get an A+ purely on presentation.
I mean, like that.
All right, so that I wanted to play that for a multitude of reasons. Number one, I'm a big advocate of sports talk radio. Grew up listening to sports talk radio. That is one of the best calls I've ever heard in my entire life from a caller. Not only was he energized and passionate, but he had all the facts to back up what he was saying, and I absolutely applaud that man. I don't know what Berto is his name, so shout out to Berto on the west side of Chicago. With that being said, everything he said was absolutely facts.
Yep.
What's your guys' thoughts on the White Sox? So they're 1-9 in the last 10. The only reason why they're 1-9 is because they won today. Magically, they gave up the lead, but they hit a walk-off grand slam to win the game. What's your guys' thoughts on this White Sox season, and kind of not only your thoughts, but like where do they go from here? To be honest, like Lou Bob got benched today because he didn't run out a grounder. What's your thoughts on the White Sox, fellas? Because both of you think you guys both picked them to win this division.
Yeah, I definitely did. And the Lou Bob benching was yesterday, but
oh yeah, it was yesterday. My bad.
He did sit out today because of hamstring. So,
lies.
Yeah, which also could have been why he didn't run out the hustle out the run to first. But I think you're 100% right there. Um, it's really sad when you're a Chicago team, when you have a lineup like this, when you have pitching like this, you know, to be a half game up on Kansas City, to be 2 games back on Detroit, 2.5 games back on Detroit. Uh, this is sad. 10-game losing streak. It doesn't surprise me that you have fans, going, ham on this, on this organization, because it has been bad. I think the Tony La Russa coaching position was one of the worst hires in baseball. A bunch of young kids who have potential to bring them back to 1990s ball in 2020s is just an absolute joke. I love what they had in their minor league system and individual players. Definitely not, the quality of a minor league system like you have in, say, LA, but you had top level players that should have been able to have the opportunity in the majors, and they're just so mismanaged that it's sad to see Lou Bob be a failure. Mercedes, Vaughn, it looks like Colas is on his way to being a failure. Because these kids are good ball players, but once they get up to the bigs, they're just, pushed off a cliff.
Damn, shout out to the Kraken.
Let's go. Kraken, baby.
Also,
10 seconds left.
Shout out to Andrew Cogliano.
1 second. Ball game.
Shout out to Cogliano. I hope you heal quickly and well. You're an older guy, and broken neck is rough.
Yep, that is very rough.
He was good for San Jose last year. I really enjoyed him as a hockey player.
Kraken, baby.
Yep.
Well, the city of Seattle don't deserve nothing nice, but shout out to the Kraken.
That's a lie, dude. The city of Seattle is the second greatest city I've ever been to in my life.
Lived in 3.
Seattle.
Been to. Seattle is my second favorite city I've ever been to.
Nah, I don't got nothing against Seattle. But damn, man, Colorado might win it all next year.
And they were supposed to win it all this year too.
I know, but injuries really derailed them this year.
That's part of life, man. You know what I mean?
And off the ice, extracurricular activities.
Yep.
Dude, when that shit happened, I was like, bro, there's no way they win, dude. That's such a distraction. Anyways, back to the White Sox. And shout out to the Seattle Kraken, man. Awesome, that first playoff.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, man. What can they do? Trade all their talent and start go through a rebuild? Because this team
talent's not even worth anything, though.
Exactly what I'm saying. This team is built to compete, and they're not competing in the AL Central, who we all thought was the worst division in MLB. And they're a half a game behind the Kansas City Royals.
Is it still a half game? Yeah.
Half game ahead of the Royals.
Yeah. Half game ahead. Yeah, man. I'm sorry. I picked them to win this division, but it's not even May. Well, it's about to be May and midnight in 3 hours, but you could pack the White Sox up, bro. It's not because this bullpen is terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah.
The worst bullpen in baseball. Worse than the A's.
Bullpen in baseball by far. You got 2 starters who are damn good, but they just can't pitch right now. And Kopech and Lucas Giolito, I don't know what happened. They just cannot locate. They can't string together good innings. They'll have a good inning, the next inning they'll give up damn 5, 6, 7 runs.
Well, the thing with Kopech, Irv, is, we talked about this with Eli before, is like when he was in their bullpen, like their bullpen was fucking lights out, dude. Because Kopech has that velocity that like he should be a reliever, like he shouldn't be a starter, because as a reliever he's throwing 100, as a starter he's throwing 94. You know what I mean? Like, it's just such a drop off of velocity. It just changes your stuff too much, dude. And like,
And then you got Lance Lynn and Mike Clevenger rounding out your rotation.
it's
That's
terrible.
horrible, man.
Yeah.
Dylan Cease. Hopefully somebody could trade for Dylan Cease because it looks like we're gonna see a prime time pitcher get wasted and shit. And
Well, yeah, no, but he's absolutely
outside
good.
of Chicago,
They're not going to get rid of Cease.
Nah, they can't get rid of Cease. He's like
yeah,
their only
he
player
get
that's
him, but
worth
I'm
a
just
damn.
saying, like in a couple years, he might demand a trade or want to get traded.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm Chicago, like, I look at Lou Bob and I look at Eloy, and like, they're still under club control, dude. So like, they do have some value just based off the potential and the contract, right? So I would definitely look at trading them because you can absolutely get value for those two guys.
See, and that's what I was going to ask was, outside of Chicago, do you think these players are top level players when they're not in the shit situation that they are? And
I mean, Lubov's one of the, like, we all thought he was going to be like the next great player, dude.
Yeah.
Same with Eloy, like, and they've shown the potential, dude. They flashed the potential. Obviously, both those guys like just need to stay healthy. But it's like Lubov running out that ground out, to me was just like, that was a sign that like I just don't want to be here anymore. You know, like I'm over this. And obviously, like a team that has that much talent that's playing that bad, there's definitely some locker room issues. There's definitely like toxic chemistry somewhere involved there. And like I'm not in that locker room, so like I'm not here to talk, like I don't want to like just say that it's for sure or I know what's going on. But bro, I've been watching sports for fucking almost 40 years and I've seen this shit. Like we've all seen this. Like, you know, when there's a bad situation, dude. And that's what this White Sox team is. And that's what I think this caller was alluding to.
Yeah, I think they need change at the top, honestly.
Yep. But the problem is Jerry Reinsdorf, you know, he's been very, he's set in his ways.
Lucky he drafted a guy in 1984 named Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's the what is it? The old man's club. Well,
with Jerry Reinsdorf, his problem Ben is like he just hires yes men. Like you don't hire.
Yeah,
people.
but that's what I mean. Like it's the old man's club. That's why we saw La Russa get hired. That's why we saw who's their current coach.
Hey,
Right
didn't
now?
he have? Wasn't Krause the GM of the White Sox and the Bulls?
Yep.
Probably at one point.
Yes.
I think the problem with the La Russa hire, dude, is
terrible.
like they hired La Russa because they thought like, okay, we have a World Series contending team, like let's get a World Series manager. But they didn't realize like La Russa's like 80 years old, bro, and he was out of baseball for like 10 years. Like he had.
Yeah, you can't hire somebody that worked during Jim Crow and.
But that's the thing.
He was around. He was around when segregation was still thriving and well endowed. I mean, well integrated into the game.
I mean,
of baseball.
you could look at the Cardinals too, Ben. I mean, they hired Carlos Marmol, who's young, and he's dog shit manager too. It's like
they need to fire his ass too.
But it's that old man's club, and you know, it doesn't surprise me that you see that in Chicago with their owner and St. Louis with their owner.
The White Sox situation is just totally fascinating, man, because like
it's crazy.
They do spend money to try to win, but it's like the caller said, like they just spend money on the wrong guys.
I gotta sell all my Jake Berger rookie cards right now, right? Because they're skyrocketed.
Jake Berger. That's one of the greatest lines ever. All right, let's get to our top 5 Major League Baseball teams of this week. Top 5 power ratings. Ben, start us off.
All right, I'm gonna go honorable mention. We're gonna go San Diego, Philadelphia, and LA. Finally finding those winning ways. If they continue to go up, then they'll be on our top 5s. But for me, these 3 are still on the outside looking in. Number 5, we're gonna go Atlanta Braves, 18-9 plus 43 run differential, 5-5 in this last week, which is why they pushed down. I think they're ranked like 4th overall in all baseball, but they're going to be number 5 for me. Number 4, I'm going to go the Toronto Blue Jays. Big series wins over these last 2 weeks. You had Seattle, New York, Tampa Bay, and they won 2 out of 3 in each of those. Just is great. You have to win those series. So they're going to be my number 4. Number 3, we're going to go to the Baltimore Orioles, 8-2 in their last 10. ease of their schedule is insane, but if you're a good team, you have to win those games against the shitty ones, and they're winning it right now. So that's why I've got Baltimore at number 3. Number 2, we're going to go Pittsburgh Pirates. This team just really continues to amaze me. 20-9 over on the year, 8-2 in their last 10. Pretty even team. 9-4 at home, 11-5 on the road. The plus 48 differential for a young team really surprises me, both offensively and defensively there. And number 1, I still have Tampa Bay, 26-6, 14-2 at home, up 10 in this last week at plus 103 run differential. Up to 103 from 88. So they are, 31 better than the number 2 Texas team. Pitching, first in ERA, 2.81, first in opponent batting average at 198, first in whip at 108. You look at their batting, first in runs, 186, slugging percentage, 0.55 at 22.
They got to play somebody at some point, Ben.
Yeah. Well, but they continue to destroy, and they continue to be my number 1.
It's true. Irv, what's your top 5 look like?
Give me the Blue Jays at 5, the Braves at 4, the good old Baltimore Orioles at 3, Pittsburgh at 2, and for now they're holding on, but I might have a new number 1 team by next week. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Fuck the Buccaneers.
Tampa Bay Rays. Oh, and prayers out to Shaquille Barrett, man. That's horrible news.
Oh, terrible news, man.
Sorry, Tampa Bay not 26-6, 23-6.
23-6.
3 games up. My bad.
Yep. All right. My top 5 real quick. Number 5, I have a tie between the Twins and Blue Jays. Number 4, I got the Diamondbacks. Number 3, I have the Baltimore Orioles. Number 2, I have the Atlanta Braves. And number 1, I have the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, tough week for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, but they're still in first place in the NL West.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't disagree with you.
I don't know what's up with these last couple of games, but teams can't hit Austin Gomes. Sorry ass Gomes or whatever.
Yeah, bro. 11 innings pitched, 1 earned run, and he still has a 7.7 ERA.
Yeah, it's crazy, huh?
Let's go, y'all.
All right, let's get some best bets for tomorrow. What do we like, fellas?
We didn't even talk basketball. Jesus.
We're running out of time.
Yeah.
Tap into Temple of Hoop tomorrow. You can hear my basketball thoughts.
There we go. Go Dubs.
It's rough, tough sledding, but it's a game 7 in hockey tomorrow, and I don't know which team is going to win. So when I don't know who's going to win, I just take the over 5.5 over for the Rangers and the Devils.
I like it. I'm kind of with you on that. Don't know who's going to win. Whichever team you do like, I would go with that -1.5, whether it's the Devils or the Rangers taking it 1.5. These teams have been winning big when they do win. I personally like the Devils. I'm going to take the Devils at -1.5. It doesn't have as good of value as the Rangers -1.5, but they're at home. They're a strong young team, and I think they take this one out.
All right, I got 3 best bets for tomorrow. First one, we're going Nationals +1.5, -133. Mackenzie Gore on the hill. I like that bet. Number 2, we're going Dodgers money line -162. So we're laying a little bit of juice here, but teams coming off road games, Sunday Night Baseball, that have to travel that same night, not very good. Keep in mind that game wrapped up like 9 p.m. Local time in Houston, and they gotta fly to LA and play tomorrow. I like the Dodgers money line there. And then I'm against both of you, man. I'm going Rangers Devils under 5.5. I think it's gonna be a very tightly contested game. I think it's gonna be very close. I honestly think the winner might win 2-1, 1-0. And honestly, I would sprinkle a little bit on draw in regulation at like +300. because this could very well go to overtime. So those are my 3 best bets. 3.5 if you want to. Like I said, I don't love the regulation one. It's a long shot. It's 300 plus 330 depending on where you get it, but it's a decent bet. Both these teams are close.
Are we doing anything for Warriors Lakers?
Oh,
what you want to do?
I don't know.
I'm not eating no fucking one chip challenge.
All right, well, we'll come back on Tuesday. I know game 1 will.
Oh, the hottest I'll go is the hottest wings at Wingstop.
Dude, that's like one chip challenge, basically.
Yeah,
it is. Well, that's on wings. I can only eat one of them then. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna come back and we'll
because the first game's on Tuesday, so we gotta.
I know. I was gonna say
now.
No. We'll come back and we'll let everybody know what the bet is on Tuesday.
No, let's do this.
Talk this out.
I got it right now. If the Warriors win, Irv has to drink a double IPA. If the Lakers win, Ben has to do a one chip challenge.
No, you just want me to do a one chip challenge.
Ben, you have like a good, like, you like spicy food. Do you have like a pretty high tolerance for spicy food?
How about I'll do the other half of what you were doing. I will chug a porter.
All right, fair enough. You got shotgun a porter.
A shotgun a porter. Okay. And do we want to do like a hat bet on this as well?
No, I think we should just do the one chip porter challenge because that's better for viewership.
Porter or double
content.
IPA. Okay.
That's good content.
Porter or double IPA.
I can't wait to see. Well, the Warriors aren't winning, so I can't wait to see Ben.
You said that about Sacramento too, so.
Bro, Sac should have won. That third quarter just cost them the game. That was ugly.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I mean, it's true. It shoulda, woulda, coulda.
All right, so Irv, double IPA or shotgun a porter. You down?
All right, cool.
That's a fair bet.
Double IPA.
All right.
It's good content too, whichever one loses. All right. Thank you everybody for joining us. Make sure to tap in on Tuesday. We'll be back. We'll be breaking down that Major League Baseball slate for Wednesday. We've been pretty fucking good on the show. Last week we went 4-2. We almost had a complete sweep if the Marlins didn't choke the fucking game at the end. But nonetheless, a beautiful show. So make sure to tap into that. Make sure to go to Tavour.com, download the Tavour app straight to your mobile device. Use promo code TAPROOM for $10 off your first purchase of $25 or more. That's craft beer delivered straight to your front door. You don't even have to leave your seat. You can follow Irvin on Twitter at SwervinIrvinTSP. Follow myself at JordanRulesTSP. You can follow Ben somewhere. He's not on Twitter.
I'm sure you can find me somewhere.
You can follow us. Go to TaproomSportsPodcast.com. All of our links are up there.
Hopefully new promo codes coming soon too.
Yes, we're looking at a new promo code, so stay locked in with us. We appreciate y'all. Please tell a friend, let us know. We love y'all, man. Have a beautiful, blessed Monday. Hopefully y'all start your week off right. Let's get this money and let's go.